and you really must tune in. He's ironic, iconic, maybe bionic. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Genius. He's a genius.
Hello ladies and gents, Michael Burhan from RetroUnlimers.com and also NoGenius.com, and I'm here with the man himself,
Steve Benway.
I'm here with Steve Benway, it's amazing. So Steve, what are you gracing or pretty lovely the Expo here today?
Why? Retro games. Lots and lots of retro games and lots of YouTubers.
So have you found anything that you like?
Do you know, I've actually hardly looked at what's in there yet. I had a long drive here, stressful as you like, and walked in, it's loud, it's busy, I walked around and I walked straight back out and went and got a sandwich. Since then I walked back in and I've got as far as the corner, just inside the door, and the rest of the time I've been spent standing chatting to people, and I haven't really looked yet.
Yeah, I was actually talking to most of the Retro Unlimers guys, trying to hunt you down. I was like going to Stephen, where is he? Is he somewhere around here? And then I went to Gas and it's like, is he somewhere around here? And it's like, you've got to find Benway, you've got to hunt him down. So I'm running around trying to find you, like running through the console snob and everybody, trying to make sure I can get a hold of you, because I wanted to like talk to you myself. Because it's, you know, we're familiar with each other on YouTube and Facebook, but we've never sort of actually like met up and conversed, and it's kind of one of the unique things about these conventions, isn't it? Because you can meet people who otherwise, exactly, you know, certain guys that you meet online, because with like the American YouTubers, so to speak, you rarely ever get to meet them.
Yeah, why?
You could probably have a Skype chat, you could probably see them on like Google Plus or something like that, but you can never see them actually and have a dialogue, and it's quite funny as well, because I saw you sort of as taller person.
Everyone says that, they're like, you're short.
Well, you're not exactly short, like you're kind of my height, so that...
I think you're talking, no, you've got a few inches on me.
A few inches, so it's not too much. So let me ask you a few questions I've always wanted to ask you. One, how did you get into retro gaming?
I didn't plan it. I kept systems. I had an Acorn Electron and an Atari and an Amiga, and when they became obsolete I didn't get rid of them. And then about '97 I started going to car boot sales, and there were things that I remembered as a kid, and I thought, wow, I wanted that as a kid and I couldn't afford it. I can afford it now, and I started buying them, and I kind of didn't stop.
Yeah. It's a certain thing that you find with loads of like gamers, like even though retro's become sort of a niche thing, it's become the cool thing to have. A lot of gamers still have been just collecting because they haven't stopped.
Yeah.
You know, I myself, I always get games and consoles if they have a story on them, and for me, it's always if I visualize something, it has a moment or a memory that I have. I especially grab something. I grabbed a Nintendo Entertainment System because I lost mine to a friend of mine who decided to take it and not tell me where she's gone.
Oh, well, that's...
but I managed to, I still had the game, so I got the console, found a retro shop that overcharged me horrendously for it, and got the console, and I've always sort of looked at that, and I can always look at the moments, the memories that I shared, and I can share those with my sort of kids as well. Now, the other question I want to ask you as well is YouTube. You've always, like, there's one of the new policies that you sort of talk about that I think you've been asked about generally is, if someone asks you a question, they can Google and find the answer to it.
Yeah.
You tend to like, I don't answer those.
Yeah, I think I'm not Google. They can Google as well as I can, so why should I do it for them?
Very much so. So let me ask you a little bit about your YouTube channel, because you have such a big rapport with your audience.
Yeah.
You know, people ask you questions, you answer back.
That's right.
You know, you're very approachable in a sense as well, which you find a lot of like YouTube celebs tend to not be.
But I'm not a celeb.
But in a sense, in other people's minds, you probably are, because they've grown you up to be this sort of like, it's like meeting, I've met a couple of myself, like in Rob Man and Johnny Millennium, I had them built up in my head as these big guys, and then once you talk to them, like, you're just a regular guy like me.
Yeah, I've been on the on their podcast thing and just sat and chatted with them, and it's like, it's just guys chatting.
Yeah. So that's the all Gen Gamers.
Yes. I was very lucky to be on there. Because I started about the same time as John, Gamester 81. We kind of started and know each other quite well, as well as you can know someone online, and then Jason as well. I probably gave him his first shout out, and then when they were saying, who can we get on the show, then Jason said, yeah, Steve Benway. And that's how I got on there.
So, talking about that, because you've had such a big presence for such a long time. In a sense.
Old.
Well, we're all old. I think that the appropriate words are you come out of the womb and then you start dying.
Yeah, that's about it.
But in a sense with yourself, you have such a big presence, and people, especially in the UK YouTube community, you're very well respected. How do you sort of like tend to deal with that? Because as I said, you're very approachable, so you probably get people picking your brain every 5 minutes.
With the PMs and messages and comments, I reply to anything that I can answer easily without having to Google, or anything that's interesting. But I do get bombarded, and sometimes I'm just like, I have to step back from it and just like, I'm answering anything today. But mostly I don't give it much of a thought. It's just the internet.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing as well, because it's like, because the internet has grown to be another sort of entertainment medium in a sense, things like this are sort of tend to happen. People are looking for the next gaming person, the next knowledgeable person on those sort of mediums, rather than going to TV. Because I remember before, back in the day, we had like Games World and Games Master and stuff like that. And there were the sort of gaming shows that we could have our sort of fix in a sense. And because they've become sort of kind of niche and retro, you had a few of those guys become, like, in a sense, celebrities themselves. And with that, with you and how approachable you've been to everybody, has there been anybody that's kind of annoyed you in a sense? Have you had certain fans?
Oh yes.
Tell us a little bit about
I'm not naming any names. No, every once in a while you'll get someone who they want to dominate your time, and you have to like say, no, come on, back off a little bit, or they just plain don't like you. Yeah. And I do get that. There are people who don't get my sense of humour.
The trolls.
Yeah, and some of them aren't even trolls. Some of them they don't get my sense of humour, and so they take against me. And the block button is your friend. I make no qualms about it. Anyone ticks me off, I block them, and I make no apologies for it.
Steve Benway's suggestion: block button is your friend, people. So, where can we find you? Say like on Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, etc.
I'm on Facebook. I can't remember what my name. I think I'm Steve Benway, Retro Gaming Collector. I'm on YouTube as Steve Benway. I'm on Twitter as I don't know. I think I'm Steve Benway, or I might be Benway68. I can't remember. And I've got a website, retrogamingcollector.com, which is great. You should go there.
And that's it, guys. You know, make sure that you do go there, because this man knows his stuff. And being someone who subbed him myself, I know you're like shaking your head there, but being someone who subbed him myself, he is very interesting. If you like gamers who talk stories about their collections and about why they've originally got into gaming, this guy is basically a treasure trove full of stories. So make sure you check him out as well on Facebook. And as always, I'm Michael Burhan for Steve Benway, of course, saying that we've got gameplay. Have you?
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.